Hello, guys. A very good evening to all of you. I'm Dr. Ranjan, Pharmacology faculty at Marrow. And today I have the opportunity to present to all of you guys Dr. Himanshu, who is rank 3 in INI-CET November 2022. And he is a pass out from KMC Manipal. And it's not that in this exam he has got a good rank. In the last NEET PG as well as May INI-CET, he had pretty good rank of around 130, 180. And congratulations, Himanshu, and welcome to today's session. And
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much.
Okay, so Himanshu, I'd like to ask you because I know how you must be feeling, but I'd like to ask you this major improvement in this rank because Himanshu has told me that his aim was to join Niman's neurosurgery, and with this rank, he would be able to join it. And again, congratulations for that. But Himanshu, you are still you are having a very good rank around 100, 150. And tell me, were you confident enough that you're gonna get such a good rank below rank 10?
Yes, sir. So when I wrote my May INI-CET exam, I was around like 60% prepared with respect to the syllabus. And the
Hmm.
questions which I got wrong were the ones which I knew that if I studied them, I would be able to answer them. So I thought if I give my exam with say 80 to 90% preparation, I would have a major leap in rank. And post my INI-CET, I started giving a lot of GTs. And in those GTs, I saw myself standing somewhere in top 30. So that gave me the confidence to like make another attempt with say full preparation and see where I stand. So yeah, that's why I took the drops.
Great, great. So one thing which is important is there are two things rather which are important. One is persistence, which he had, and self belief or that confidence that you can do it. And if these two things they're combined, they do miracle like this. And Himanshu, tell us a little bit about your primary source of preparation for the last 1 year. What was it?
Yes, sir. So basically, for my May INI-CET exam, I started preparing around 8 months before the exam. And
Okay.
I am not a person who would sit in front of videos and learn through the videos. So my primary source of information was the Marrow Q Bank itself. And I have solved all the 838 modules of Marrow Q Bank. And
Hmm.
my way of revising the Q Bank was either through bookmarks or I used to screenshot the important questions. Like, say, for example, a table is given in the explanation of Marrow Q Bank. I would screenshot
Hmm.
them and I would go through them whenever I'm free. So, primary source of information in single word would be a Marrow Q Bank itself.
Okay, so I mean that's great, and QBank can be an amazing tool if you know how to use it to your own benefit. So first thing, let us get a little bit of hang of how you use the QBank. So how many questions would you solve in a modules or modules would you solve in a day from the QBank?
Actually, sir, like in the initial 5 months, I used to go at like it was very patchy. Like it was like I used to solve 10 questions, 10 modules in a day, and then next 2 3 days I would not solve a single module. But
That's
then
okay. That's
when
perfectly fine.
the exam
Yeah.
came closer and I started like getting scared, that was when I used to sit like and solve like almost 30 to 40 modules a day. Like I used to make up my mind that I have to solve this. And especially in the last 20 days of the exam, I used to solve almost 40 modules a day, sir. And that's how I completed the 800 modules. So
No, that's
it was like
amazing.
I'm not the ideal person and not the most consistent person in solving I mean going at like 20 a day for like 20 days. It would be more like 0 for 10 days and 40 a day for 10 days. And I knew that that's a good strategy for me, but it may not hold good for
Yeah.
others. So
Yeah, no, absolutely. See, everyone is different, and I mean, you can take inspiration from the toppers, but we are different, and we should have our own plans. Now, tell me one thing. I mean, how do you choose to solve the Q bank? Would you go for like one subject on a trot for 4 days, 5 days, or would you mix it up? Like every day, I will solve one or two subjects. I'll mix up two subjects, one clinical, one preclinical. So, did you have any plan in mind, or you would just go blindly to any module you are happy with?
it was more like subject wise, sir. So I knew that to get a good rank, I have to do all 19 subjects, irrespective of like I have to. It can't be like I do medicine fully and ignore anesthesia, FMT, and then I get
Yeah.
a good rank. So I knew I have to do all 19. And my strategy
Okay.
was like do a subject at a time. Take like 2 to 3 days for one subject.
Mhm.
If there are like say 60 modules, do it like 20, 20, 20. Finish off the subject for once. Give a subject
Mhm.
wise test later and see if I'm actually retaining something or not. And then like through the next GT, see if actually whatever I did over the past say 1 week is actually useful or not. So that is how I gauged my preparation, and that's how I like finished off each subject modules. So it was more like
Okay.
subject wise, not like preclinical, clinical mix.
Excellent. So it's an amazing strategy. What he's telling us is, first of all, solve the Q bank, solve all the questions from a particular subject, and then give a subject-wise test, and then you can judge yourself where you are standing there. But anyways, there is an amazing tool in Marrow arsenal, that is Bookmark. And as you said already, you used to. So how bullish you were with Bookmark? I mean, just to say a wild percentage. How many questions? How many percentage? Because Bookmark, you cannot overdo it, you cannot underdo it. So it has to be, it will differ from person to person. So what is your
Yeah.
percentage of questions you would bookmark?
So yeah, so basically, if the question is confusing and the options are confusing me, then I would bookmark the question. But if it's
Okay.
more like an information based, or the like it's like a fact based thing, so
Yeah.
instead of writing it down in my notes, I would take a screenshot of it and keep it with me, and I would make a folder subject wise so that I can revise it whenever I'm free. So for
Okay.
example, I had like say 500 screenshots from Patho, and all of them
Hmm.
were under the Patho folder in my phone. So
Hmm.
like even when I go to sleep, even when the lights are switched off, I can basically go through all those screenshots once again. So, but I can't do the same thing with my notes. So that is why mobile was my primary source of like reading information and not notes. So whatever people usually do with notes, I used to do that with screenshots of Marrow using my phone, and bookmarks were there if the questions and options were confusing. If I feel that okay, if I might not be able to answer and the options are confusing, then I bookmark the question. Otherwise, I take screenshot of fact-based information.
Okay. And I just like you to advise people how to use QBank in a way, I mean, by which it could be more productive. I mean, see, all of us, we are different people. So did you realize there is a certain way by which solving a QBank would be more productive?
So basically, I would say solve the. I mean, even with if you're starting from scratch and you have no knowledge of notes or videos, if you solve a Q bank, how to solve it effectively would be that go through the explanation given. I mean, I'm not kidding. The Marrow explanations are too good, and if you just see the questions explanation and go with that, and like if you leave out the former part, I think it's like more than sufficient to cover any entrance examination. So like be and I mean I you need to have faith in the information that you are using. So and
Okay.
that is the first thing. So if you have faith in the information and read it diligently, then that is how things fall in place. So if you how to use a Q bank is that solve a question and go through the explanation. If there is a table and if you know that it is not some, if you read it today you will forget it tomorrow, then like bookmark it or like take a screenshot of it and keep it with you and revise it again and again. And if it's like a one liner fact, you can make like a fact notebook and go through it again. So but like
Okay.
the more questions you solve, the better it is. And yeah, these are the two ways I used. If it's a fact, like screenshot it, keep it with me. If it's a one liner, like I used to screenshot, but people can make a notes of like one line of fact, like the most commons and stuff, and have it all in one place. And if you have adequate time, solve all the 838 modules. I mean, it's too good. It's equivalent to like doing videos and all of it together. I mean, the information is more than sufficient. But if you're having less
Hmm.
time, then just do the PYQ modules. There are around 207 or 208 modules of previous year questions. I mean, just doing that is also more than sufficient. And you have to
Okay.
like go through the explanation. If the topic you're weak in that topic, maybe like go and
Hmm.
watch the video, or like use a standard textbook and go through it again. So this is how like cover up the topics and cover the Q bank.
Excellent. See, one of the important, that we have important thing to do is QBank. Now, another arsenal that we need to have is grant tests, and we need to give enough number of grant tests. So, when is it that you started giving Marrow grant test?
So when I started preparing, the day one of my preparation was the day I gave the grand test. I mean, that's how I saw where I stood.
Okay.
I mean, I knew I can't go beyond that rank. With zero preparation, I should get. If I got this rank, I was like, I can only go forward from this. So that
Okay.
was the first I gave 8 months back. And then
Okay.
like based, I mean, I was not really consistent and not very consistent in the initial phases of preparation. But once I
Hmm.
got into the hang of it and I thought that okay, I do have a chance in the exam, maybe like once in 15 days or once in 1 month. And towards
Hmm.
the end, almost like once in a week, I used to give a GT. And the last
Okay.
GT I gave was one day before INI-CET, May INI-CET. I gave one GT. I mean, may not be advisable to you. You might get like panicked looking at the result, but I was someone who
Mhm.
will learn through the GT also. Like the questions I got wrong, I was like, okay, I got like 40 questions wrong. It's like 40 new information for me. New means
Mhm.
like in a twisted way. I was like, I was happy with it. Anyway, I gave my May INI-CET as a passing exam. And for November exam, I started my giving my GTs like 2 months back. It was almost like
Yeah.
once in 15 days I used to give one GT. Towards the end, once in a
Mhm.
week, one GT, two GT. And the last GT I gave
Mhm.
was like around 10 days before my exam.
Okay, so it's amazing. I mean, there is one thing, one message that you guys can take away from this is you might begin slow. You might begin by giving one grand test in a month, but after 1 or 2 months, you have to speed up and increase the number of GTs. So what he said is one GT a week. I mean, you can switch your gears after you are used to giving few GTs, grand tests. And that's amazing, amazing, Himanshu. And tell us one more thing about the grant test. See, one important reason of giving a grant test is not only that you just need to look at how much marks you have scored and satisfy your ego, but beyond that, I mean, you need to understand by giving a grant test that where you are leaking marks. I mean, which topics or subject you are weak in. And for that, we have in Marrow, there is GT analytics and graphs. So some students use that. So I would like to ask you, I mean, from grand test, how you used to judge about your weaker areas or topics? Were you using the GT analytics or something else?
Yes, sir. So I think there are two ways of doing it. One is the ideal way, and one is the way that I used to do it. So the ideal way would be that like go through the bottom 3 weak subjects, correct it.
Mhm.
I mean, go through the 3 subjects that you're weak in, read it, do your GT again, so that the next time
Mhm.
you have 3 different subjects as your weak subjects, and that's how you cover all
Yeah.
the 19 subjects. That would be one
Mhm.
way. But what I used to do was whenever I gave GT, I knew that okay, I have not read pediatrics, so I'm gonna get less marks in pediatrics. So that was in my
Okay.
mind, and if I knew that if I read pediatrics, I'll get good in pediatrics. So
Okay.
it was like if I finished a particular subject module, I gave the subject wise test, then I give the GT. Then I used to see if I'm scoring well in that subject part of the GT. If I'm not, then
Okay.
I would say revisit the bookmarks, revisit the screenshots that I had, and like try to read it again. So that's how I made sure my subjects are correct. So my way of doing it was like if I have done a particular subject, then go through it again through the GTs, and if I'm not doing well, revise it again. If I knew that if I have not read it, I wouldn't get good. So that's how I used my GT analytics.
And would you advise people to, I mean, did you revise the GT explanations before the exam?
Yes. In fact, like I kept last 2 days of my preparation just for analyzing the like the questions that I had gotten wrong in GTs. So the
Mhm.
last 2 days, like 11th and 12th, were just for revising what I had gotten wrong. So went through the explanations, went through what I had made, like what my mindset was while ticking the answer. So that was
Mhm.
my plan. Like I mean, if the question comes
Okay,
again,
great.
I shouldn't be in the same mindset to tick the same option again. So I was like, what was I thinking when I actually ticked this answer? So I used to think in that manner. And I wanted to stay calm for the last 2 days. So I thought that I'll just go through whatever I got wrong and improve myself.
Okay, so Himanshu, tell us at last how do you keep yourself up during the phases of preparation when your days are low and some days are high? So, did you have any
Yes.
hobby that you would mix up with preparation to keep you going?
Uh, no hobby per se, sir. I mean, like my pastime usually was through YouTube videos and Instagram reels only.
Okay.
No hands-on hobbies or no gardening crafts or nothing like that. So that I mean, I knew that this is. I mean, it will make me feel fresh enough. So I mean, whatever makes people feel better, I think they should do that. I mean, not
Yeah, it's okay.
do.
It's okay. We all are different, and that's okay. That's perfectly fine. And your last words, Himanshu, before I let you go and enjoy your day.
Yes.
Any last words for your juniors? How to get ahead in this race and get the best out of Mero? Any final words for your juniors?
Yes, like just one sentence. I mean, if you want it, it's you who have to get it. I mean, like
Yeah.
there are sources to help you, but ultimately it depends upon how you stay determined, how you stay focused, and I like if you have to realize that all 40,000 people are preparing for the exam, and everybody wants to see it. Nobody's writing it just for namesake. So and you have to fight for it. And like it's a rat race, you cannot do anything. And when there is a rat race, and when there are people around you trying to give all the information to you, just make sure that you use it. And I think like I mean, no kidding, Marrow is the best source. I mean, yeah, that's all I can say. I mean, trust your source, whatever source you're using. Make sure that you continue with the same source. I use Marrow, so that's it.
So, anyways, again, hearty congratulations to you, Dr. Himanshu, from me, from the entire team Marrow. We are extremely proud of you, and I have no doubt that going forward, be a great neurosurgeon, and you'll serve your patients well. You'll make your parents proud and live a happy life after this. So, best wishes to you, Dr. Himanshu, and thanks a lot for your time. Take care.
Yes, thank you so much, sir. Thank you, sir.